Hey guys, it's Goretti with Lakeview Medium and Tarot. And I've been doing a lot of YouTube video watching today, and I came across a hashtag that got started by Diane at Mystical Haven. I was going to say mythical, but no, it's mystical. Diane at Mystical Haven, who started a hashtag. Where's that piece of paper? It's called hashtag Path to Tarot. And it's a spiritual path and how it led us, or how it led me, to tarot. I know that I've kind of touched base a little bit in previous videos in regards to my path and my tarot experiences and all that, but I've never really kind of, I guess, delved deep into it. Sorry, my dogs are sleeping under my feet. I don't want to accidentally kick them in the face because that's just mean. I've never really kind of gone into detail on how, how it all kind of started, really. So yeah, I'm going to try to not make this super duper long, but so I come from a Catholic background, I was going to say born and raised, well, I guess born and raised in a Catholic, Roman Catholic background. Both parents are Catholic, though my dad doesn't really practice, still doesn't, except for like Easter, maybe. Both sets of my grandparents were Catholic, and from there on. I come from a very full-on Portuguese culture, so it's very Catholic. My mom made sure we were always at church on Sundays. I had my first communion. I had my confirmation. I was even married in a Catholic church because my husband's Catholic and Portuguese, coincidentally enough, as well. We met at church. It's one of those stories. But I was raised a little bit differently, I think, in the aspect, even though I was Catholic, and my parents were Catholic and my whole family was Catholic, because I was, like they say, a gifted child. I was 5 when I had my first experience of seeing spirit. And it was a horrific experience, unfortunately, because I had a spirit attach itself to me at a young age. And this spirit was of a gentleman who was horrifically burned and tragically passed in a fire. And so at the age of 5, when you have a ghost who's in your closet, like I always say, a ghost was in my closet, but it hung out in like the corner. He hung out in the corner area of my closet, and he came to me completely disfigured, burnt in a fire. And so my parents kind of knew, or my mom kind of knew, and my grandparents kind of knew that I was gifted by that point in time. And coming from a culture who embraces mediums and witchcraft, literally in the sense of you go knock on the old lady's house for a magic potion type of culture. They were it was normal for them, and they didn't shun me. They didn't say, well, you shouldn't ignore it. It's all in your imagination. No, they were quite nurturing of the fact, and they sought help, but in other mediums in Portugal at the time, because we were in Canada, but we still have lots of family in Portugal, and so I remember I don't remember. I remember hearing about how my mom or my grandmother at the time contacted one of my aunts in Portugal to go talk to some medium lady that they knew in some village of some sorts, to find out what's going on. Anyways, so I wasn't raised in such a tabooed state. It was kept quiet. Only my family kind of knew that I could see spirits. I don't want to say ghosts. They're not ghosts. See spirits. And in that sense, I went to school, all through school, elementary and high school, into a private Catholic school system. And the whole entire time, I mean, we're taught religion. Religion is part of a block, an hour and a bit of the day in that school system. And so we were taught about different things, saints, different stories of the Bible. And I'm definitely like Diane. If you guys have a chance to go watch her video, in that whole aspect of, she actually, it's the same thing for me, is that you question, in the Bible, it says Adam and Eve were the first humans created in God's image. But then after Cain kills Abel, Cain runs away to join another tribe. Well, if they were the only ones, who were these other tribes? Like, where did they come from, right? I have that same, I've always had that same mentality. And for me, I always look at it when I have this conversation with other people, I look at it as the fact of that God tried to create perfection with Adam and Eve. Tried to start something different as an experiment. That's horrible to say, I know, but that's how I look at it. To see if it was possible to create perfection in humans. So that's it was just funny. It popped in my head just now when I remember that story, and she brings it up. Diane brings it up, and it just made me laugh when I heard it. But I'm very open in that aspect. Thank God my parents are very open to that aspect. My mom still questions certain things in my belief system since it's kind of changed. But I know that when I was about 14 or 15, I can't remember what movie I watched that was like huge. It was huge back in the day in regards to witchcraft. I don't think it was The Craft. That was later on. That was I think. I don't know. I still remember watching The Witches of Eastwick with Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer and Cher. And I think it was Jack Nicholson. To me, that was like, that was one of those moments going, oh, there's magic. And not in the sense of magic like you see, like spells and I'm going to turn you into a toad and wahaha. But it was like one of the first movies I remember watching that I'm like, wow, I kind of like that. And so I remember then going to the library. There was no internet. There was no Google. There was no YouTube back then. And I remember going to the library and lending out, taking out books in regards to witchcraft and earth-based belief systems at the time. So hedge witchery, green witchery, elemental witch. And there was like 3 of us, me and my 2 best friends at the time. And I remember us sitting in the gym during school hours, okay, in a Catholic school with witchcraft books in the gymnasium, and kind of like looking at these different candle spells and just reading up on like Kali and Caradwyn and Bridget and all these different stories. And to me, that was a point. That was probably about when I was 14 or 15, when I really started kind of looking at different cultures and different religions around the world. And my belief system went from something so small to an expanse, an expanse of so much at that time. And I still went to church with my mom every Sunday and my brother every Sunday. But my belief changed a bit. I didn't go anymore just for, sitting for that hour listening to the priest talk about different readings in the Bible. I now looked at it a little bit different. I didn't see it as just what Catholicism is known for. Jesus died on the cross. And that's how Catholicism tries to remember, which is weird for me. Catholicism just remembers, sorry, there's something floating in front of my face and it's driving me bonkers. Remembers only Christ on a crucifix. And it's one of the things that kind of irks me a little bit is when you go to a church, the only thing you see is Jesus on a crucifix. Or a cross, not a crucifix, a cross. But our belief system, Catholicism was created because he rose again. Okay? That's the whole belief system, not that he died on a cross. Anyways, that's a whole different topic that I can keep on talking about for a long time. But I looked at it more as I can't find the words, but that I'm trying to express what I'm trying to say, and it's not making sense in my head, so I don't even want to try to verbalize it. But I started looking at Mary, who's really just known as Jesus's mom, okay, as the goddess that she really is. Catholicism and Rome, when they kind of really dove into taking over that religion, really bashed, the females in their servitude to men, and so I think they really kind of reduced who Mother Mary really is in her own right. And so for me, my experiences in church, and even now, because I am raising my two girls within the Catholic system, I want to give them that start, kind of like I had. So they acknowledge where they come from, because my husband's still very Catholic. My parents are still very Catholic. My dad, well, he's Catholic only when he chooses to be. So my whole family on both sides, same as my husband's family, they're very religious. They're very Christian. On my dad's side of the family, they're not Catholic, they're Christian. They're evangelical. But I want to make sure that I at least have them stable in a belief system. My eldest daughter is a little special, I think. She cringes when it comes to church. And I joked with my husband when it was first started noticing it, is that she's got some past life issues with church. God knows only what happened to her, but she's it's hard to explain, but she shuts down when it comes to religion. She cringes at the prayers, like she literally plugs her ears in church, like in the middle of church, when it comes to like saying certain prayers. She cringes and she holds her ears. And I know if somebody saw that, they would think that she's been like possessed or something, but I know that it's other issues, obviously. But she's open and kind of excited about her first communion, which is in a couple weeks. And she's more comfortable now because I've been trying to help her understand that it's just a belief system. There's more to it. And I'm trying to make her see, church is just a learning, a learning expanse in her belief system, if that makes any sense. I think I'm just kind of rambling at the moment, I'm trying to pull words out of the air in trying to describe this. But I don't force her into religion. She sees my altar and she enjoys my altar. So I'm going to try to create a bit of an altar space and get her to put, and take her to one of our New Age stores and see what deity she gets pulled to. She likes my Hathor statue that I have, but I also have Mother Mary statue, and I also have a Jesus statue on my altar, in their own right for me. Not only is it because that was my first deities that I grew up, and it's the deities that I'm getting my children to first kind of get to know because they're so gentle. Mother Mary is so gentle and Jesus is so gentle that I thought, that's why I'm still raising them in that community of Catholicism, just because of how gentle those two deities are. So they, I have them on my altar as well. And so I'm rambling on about whole different stories. Anyways, so I started going to church. Wow, I really digressed on that one. And looked at every Sunday going to a place where I can sit and be with these two beautiful deities who changed for me at that moment when I started reading the different world deities and how they're all the same. It's amazing on how all the stories, doesn't matter what religion you're in or what part of the world you're in, they're all the same. Like the stories are so similar, they're almost identical, which is amazing when we have so many people, so many different cultures that fight over religion. And so for me, that was kind of the point where I was more comfortable and confident in my spirituality at that point. It was like that aha moment that kind of triggered my head. And around the same time, that's when my mom, got my first oracle deck and tarot deck, because we had a good conversation in regards to religion. And I was also starting to get stronger in regards to my mediumship and in regards to my intuition abilities. And I had spoken to her about how I got some weird looks because I was able to tell people certain things about themselves without using tarot cards. I've mentioned this in previous videos, so I'm not going to delve in it too much. People thought I was crazy. And so my mom got me my first tarot deck at about that point. And it's just been getting stronger and stronger in my belief system and in my worship of my deities. And I mean, I'm trying not to do any pondering while I'm doing the video. I'm staring outside. But yeah, I mean, that's all in a whole, because for me, since that point, I've come to recognize my matron. I'm still trying to get to know my patron deity, and I work with different deities. I have my set matron and patron, but I love working with the energy of Mother Mary. I love working with the energy of Jesus. I love working with Isis and Bridget and Caradwyn and Odin, and I mean, you name it. It's been an amazing journey, and I know I have a long life. Hopefully, knock on wood. I will be able to still continue and really delve deeply into it. Yeah, I think maybe that might be it. I think. And I thought I would be keeping this short. It's already 20 minutes into it. But yeah, that's kind of how my spiritual path kind of led me to where I am, really, in the end. And I know I've got a lot of a lot of work to help my eldest, especially, kind of find her place in her belief system. And it's really hard because she'll be turning 8 in June, and she already has such a strong her inner belief system. So yeah, so that's my my video response to Diane at mystical. I want to say mythical. No, mystical Haven. So yeah, so that's hashtag Path to Tarot. And that's my response. And I would love to see more videos. I know Lisa, Tarot Alchemist, did it. Two Spirits did it. I'm missing, who else did I see? Evelyn? I think I saw Evelyn's video response to it as well. I will try to remember to put Diane's link down below to the original video that kind of started it all. But yeah, so that's my response. Bye, you guys. We'll see you later.